Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to a brand new tactic, and today we're going to be looking at Klopp's 4-3-3 featuring the inverted wingback that Trent has been playing recently. If you do enjoy the tactics over on this channel, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and turn on notifications. But let's go ahead with the first test, which is going to be with mines. So, since it is a Jurgen Klopp tactic, we're going to be using teams that Jurgen Klopp has managed. And we're going to go from worst to best, in my opinion. Now, Mainz, obviously, is by far the worst, with an 11th place predicted finish, obviously, over in Germany. And we have come out and just about scraped the title by 3 points over Bayern Munich, which, to be honest, is very close. But it is with Mainz. They aren't meant to be anywhere near this position. So, we are going to take it, whether it be tight or however it is, we are going to accept it. And as you can see right now, we didn't score an outrageous amount of goals, but we did score 73 goals and only conceded 19. This tactic is really defensively solid. It's very, very intense on the press, so I will say this right now. Make sure you've got a team that can hack it. Make sure you've got rotation. Make sure you've got good training schedules, because it is a Jurgen Klopp tactic. That means intense pressing from literally the start to the end, in your face, pure aggression. Now, the one thing I do love about this as well is the fact that we only got one red card playing this way. It is a very aggressive style, and usually that does mean you're going to pick up loads and loads of bookings, but there's also that element of discipline in there, which is really, really good in a high press and tactic. So overall, a really good stat line here. In terms of the team stats, we actually only feature in what is actually quite a few, 5 of them. It's going to be most points per game coming in at 2.18, most goals at 73, most shots for at 678, fewest shots against at 250, fewest conceded at bang on 19, and the most clean sheets coming in at 18. So a really good season, not only in terms of winning the league, but also in terms of the team stats. And going over to the data hub, we're going to be looking at 2.15 goals per game, which is by far the least amount of goals we did score. Still enough to win the league, though, which is obviously the main objective. In terms of the conceded factor, 0.56 conceded per game, and a pass completion of 86.5%. Now, obviously, the pass completion is actually quite relatively high because Liverpool don't really play a possession-based style. It's all, as I said, very intense pressing, almost counter-attacking like, and to have that level of pass completion is actually really like an added bonus in my eyes to have onto this tactic. But although it wasn't the most outrageous tactic for going out and getting loads and loads of goals, it still got the job done. And obviously, this is by far the most weak team we're going to be testing with. In terms of the squad, we are going to look, so we'll filter by goals first. We're going to have 21, 13, 13, 9, 8, 6, 4, 4. So, although it's not ridiculous numbers, again, we are seeing the pattern I like to see. And the pattern which is going to be really good is obviously the strikers getting goals. Not the ideal strike for the system, a target forward, to be honest with you. Hence why you're going to be seeing more like the attacking midfielder, the wingers getting a lot of the goals coming in. Obviously, 21's quite a decent amount, 13 and 13. We're just after a lot of people getting involved, chipping in with the goals. And when you see later on in the video with the better teams, it's the exact same story, but obviously a lot more goals do go in. In terms of the assists, we are going to be looking right now. So we're actually going to have 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 7, 5. So again, loads of people getting involved with the assists as well. Really happy with how this tactic actually has performed with a team of this standard, because to be honest, it obviously is made for more of a better team. If you look at the teams that Klopp has been at, Dortmund's quite a significant team. Liverpool are arguably a powerhouse on this game. So in my opinion, the fact that it works this well with a team like Mainz is really impressive. And we then go over to Borussia Dortmund, obviously over in Germany, and again, a fantastic season. This one a little bit more dominant in the fact that we did have a better team over in Germany, and this literally shows you how good this tactic is, from the difference from using a team like Mainz to a team like Dortmund. We didn't win it by a few points. We absolutely blitzed the Bundesliga. We also won the Pokal against Bayern. Unfortunately, we did get through the groups of the Champions League, but matched up against a very strong PSG side, which were a little bit too much for us to beat. We scored 103 goals in the league, only conceded 16, and again, despite the really aggressive play style, which obviously is a replica of Klopp, 0 red cards. So we do love to see that. In terms of the team stats, we dominate six of them. I can count. Most points per game at 2.56. Most goals at 143. 103, maybe I can't count. Most shots for 829. Fewer shots against at 200. Possession, a decent stat, 55%. Again, a sort of an added bonus. The tactic's by no means designed to be a possession-based style. Fewest conceded at 16, and also the most clean sheets coming in at 23. So the two things you can see right off the bat: this tactic is really defensively solid. I mean, we're picking up stats even with Mainz being the most defensively solid. And also, we're getting the most goals. The two stats we're not dominating by any means is the pass completion, is the possession, but again, it's not meant to do that. So I do want to make sure, because I know a lot of you guys are used to seeing really sort of possession-based tactics on this channel. This is a bit different from the rest. Obviously, Klopp's not known for that type of style, so that is why we're not going to be in them fields as much. Going over to the data hub, we are going to look 3.03 goals per game. So you can see the jump from the standard of team we're using, nearly going up, obviously, 0.75. So over 3 goals a game, way under a goal a game, coming in at 0.47. And the pass completion actually quite good at bang on pretty much 87%. So a really good season in terms of trophies and the stats and the data hub stats. What about the squad stats? Let's go and have a little look, shall we? So we're going to go over right now. I'm going to go to goals. 44 coming out from Makoko. We're going to have Ademi coming in with 33. We're going to have 23 from Royce. Bellingham coming in with 10. 7 from Reina. Gittins with 6. 5 for Ozcan. So this is the difference right now. Still a very familiar pattern. A load of players getting involved, but the numbers have gone up. 44, 33, 23. You know, that's 3 players with over 20 goals in the season, all coming across that forward front line. So obviously on this game, you get Ademi gets shoved out on the right. That's where he's playing a lot of the games for me. Anyway, you got Bellingham from midfield, who's an absolute baller, by the way, obviously, with 10 goals and 18 assists. Let me know in the comments right now. Is it a mistake Bellingham going to Real Madrid? Let me know. In terms of the assists, we're going to have 20 for Royce, 18 for Bellingham, 14 for Guerrejo, Ademi with 13, 11 for Makoko, Ozcan with 9, 7 for Emre Can, and Wolf coming in with 6. So a beautiful set of stats here, a lot of goal contributions, a lot of goals going in by a wide variety of players. What a season. And now this is the big one. This is the big season. With Liverpool, we didn't win 1. We didn't win 2. We didn't win 3. We didn't win 4. We won 5 trophies in the season. 1 is going to be the Community Shield, I know, but it still is a trophy. The Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Community Shield. We won literally everything. Now, it is obviously the best team that we tested with, but still a ridiculous season to pick up literally everything you can possibly win. 108 goals, only 12 conceded. A few red cards in this one. This is the aggressive style of Liverpool, I guess. But still, even with the red cards, it doesn't matter because, as I mentioned in the start of the video, have depth, because that way you can still be competitive in all the competitions, and if you're competitive, you can win them all, as we have done. 103 points coming in compared to second place Manchester United with 82. Man City having quite an average season again. I say this time and time again on this channel, Man City seem to be really dodgy in the simulations. I play roughly 5 to 7 games myself. Typically, it's the cup finals I like to play because I like to have an element of control in them games. So minimum of 4 of these games are going to be played this year. And you know what? It just is fun to do a little bit of simming, a little bit of playing, because I get to see how the tactic actually plays in a game then. Going over to the team stats, we're going to be seeing the most points per game, the most goals at 108, most shots for at 962, fewest shots against at 194, fewest conceded at 12, and the most clean sheets coming in at 27. So again, it's pretty much a dead replica. We're seeing really good defensive display and incredible attacking display. Possession, we're going to be getting 57%, which isn't actually too bad for this system. And the pass completion, we're not actually even on the front page. So we'll go and have a little look at that in the data hub right now. And here it is. So it is pretty much 86%. But 2.84 goals per game. I was expecting this to be a little bit lower than Dortmund. Call me crazy. Obviously, we are over in England. There's a lot more competitive teams in there. So the defence is going to be traditionally a little bit better. So the fact we're near to 3 goals a game is still really impressive. Conceded is where I'm really happy with it, because Liverpool's defence in real life is a little bit shaky. But in the game, they've got some significant characters. Obviously, Van Dijk, basically a 5-star out of 5-star. An incredible player. And pass completion, basically bang on 86%. Going over to the squad then. Now, this is what we're about. This is what we're about right now. So, as you can see, we have got some key players, and oh boy, did they perform. 45 from Salah, Gakpo with 35, 30 for Nunes, 25 for Diaz, Harvey Elliott with 12, 6, 6, 5, 3, loads of threes. So we're seeing it exactly the same as Dortmund, but again, I believe even more this time in terms of goals scored, which is literally what I was expecting. In terms of the assists, we're going to have loads of people getting involved. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 players here contributing with over 10 plus assists per season. 4 of them actually going over the mark of 15. 2 over the mark of 20. It's really impressive how well this tactic gets everybody involved, whether that be the fullbacks, the wingers, the midfielders, the strikers. Everybody gets involved and puts in a great shift. And what a set of testing. So we're going to kick off the highlights with what is going to be the Champions League final against Real Madrid, which we did win 3-1. I remember playing this game because we do take the lead, as I remember here, with Diaz, who goes through and tucks it in. But Karim Benzema bounces back, and I believe it was the 47th minute. It was right just after half-time. But 46th minute, I was a little bit wrong. I remember playing this because I was like, okay, they're back in the game. It's got to be an issue. As you can see, Vinny playing just a really good bit of ball through, to be honest, and Benzema, one of the best strikers in the game, is never going to miss from that angle. But what I loved about this is the sheer audacity and just the aggression to get back into the game. I did switch to the attack and variant after I actually conceded, just to clarify that, as Salah goes through and tucks it in to the far left-hand corner. I do like to use all three of the variants because it is helpful to use them, and I actually did utilise all three in this game. So I was still on attacking at this point because I didn't really want to play passive or just play too slow, as we actually do go and get another goal. From that point onwards, I did switch to the defensive variant and sort of sealed out the game, and it worked really well. As you can see, we absolutely dominated the game against a very strong Real Madrid team, so it would have been annoying if we wouldn't have won that because we had more shots on target, more shots overall, a little bit more possession, and really a fantastic final. I do want to quickly say, guys, if you are enjoying today's video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would mean the absolute world to me. We're trying to push for 9k subs. It would help out massively if you haven't subbed already to hit the subscribe button. But let's go ahead and break down this fantastic Klopp tactic. So this is going to be the Jurgen Klopp 4-3-3. Now, as always, guys, you can download all three variants from the Patreon, as well as get early tactic release, priority in tactic requests, one-on-one help, and much more. The link is in the description, and I want to quickly thank all of the names floating down the screen right now, because you guys are absolute legends. You support me out massively, and it means the absolute world. But let's go ahead and talk tactics. So, the Jurgen Klopp 4-3-3 then. So, it's going to be a custom engine press, custom pressing style. You can probably already bank on that one. A positive mentality in possession. You want fairly wide, pass into space, a shorter passing directness, a higher tempo with mixed crosses, and that is going to be simply it. Nothing too extravagant on this page. In transition, you want counter press and counter. As I said, sort of in the intro, it does strike me as more of a counter-attack and style, especially with the wingers absolutely flying at the back line. Salah causing all sorts of issues. It's what we're used to seeing in real life. Distribute quickly, because again, it is quite an aggressive tactic, as I did mention. Take short goal kicks to do this. And out of possession, we're going to have a standard line, a high press line of engagement, get stuck in much more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Obviously with the high press line of engagement as well. Now, if you are picking up way too many bookings, you can take get stuck in off, but to be fair, two of the tests we done, we actually got basically 0 red cards. The Liverpool one, we did get a fair few. We got 3 over the season. But if you've got players, obviously, to rotate and things like that, that's on you guys. You know, you've got to get rotation in. You've got to make sure your squad's good. So in my opinion, I would keep it on because it's a big sort of DNA of Liverpool. The way I like to describe it is, I wouldn't want to take it off because it feel like I'll be extracting the DNA play style from Liverpool. The aggression, the in the face, that is what they're about. Going over to the player roles, we've got a sweeper keeper, on attack, on tackle harder, and inverted wing back. Now this tactic was pretty much not made for Trent, but this role here is made to suit Trent. Obviously recently, he's sort of been drifting into the midfield areas, and he's been doing really, really well. I'm a big fan of Trent, and I really don't like the slander on his name, to be honest with you. He might not be the best at defending, but he's an absolute baller. And some of the passes he does, some midfielders can't even pull off. So the fact that he's got the opportunity now to drift inside, almost play a bit like a midfielder, it's really good to see. A ball-playing defender on defend on the basic, and exactly the same on the left-hand side. The fullback on the left is simply going to be on support and run wide with the ball. A DM in the middle on defend, on tackle harder. A box-to-box on the left-hand side on support, and that is simply it. A Metzala on attack on the default instructions. I did try and have tackle harder on a few of these players. And it's okay having them on one of them, but I did try the whole 3, and it was way too many bookings. So just to warn you guys about that. We then go over to the front 3. We're going to have an inside forward on attack on the left, on the default, and on the right, it's going to be exactly the same, but with the additional shoot more often, because we always see Salah sort of cutting in, having the occasional pop at goal, and obviously, why not? He's one of the best finishers in the game. Absolutely go for it, son. And that's exactly why we've got shoot more often on that inside forward. And to finish it off, we've got a complete forward on attack, on the default. If you're wondering why there are so many on the default, it's because they obviously already come with some really good instructions. And I'm a person where if I feel like some people put instructions on, I personally feel, for the sake of having added stuff on. If the role does what you want it to do, stick with it. You don't need to overcomplicate things. And that's exactly what most of these roles do, apart from a couple of them, like obviously being the inside forward. I wanted to shoot more often and stuff like that. But this is a really good tactic, guys, and it works really well. For those wondering, yes, you can have a deep lying forward. I personally opted for a centre forward, more for the in-game performance. If you're replicating real life, you do want a deep lying forward. I will definitely say that. So that is one thing you could look to change. Again, if you don't want a hold-up player, it would change the way that it shapes up, but you could use an advanced forward as well if you've got a goal scorer machine. So that is not something else you could consider doing. But that's going to be the default version. Going over to the attacking variant, bang. So only a couple of changes, and they are going to be very limited in terms of the team. The DM obviously switches to a supportive role instead of defensive. The midfield actually does stay the same because it already is quite attacking. We're going to have inverted wing back exactly the same, but he's going to go automatically onto attack. And obviously this fullback's also going to be on attack. The mentality goes to attacking. In possession, we're going to have run at defense, really getting the opposition's face right now, because although we're counter-attacking, we didn't have run at defense on. Now, when we do get the ball, we're going to run, and make it very tricky for teams to defend us. In transition, as you can see, it's going to be exactly the same. We already had the distribute quickly on, so there's no need to obviously tweak that. And out of possession, we have gone with a higher line. Now, this is a tactic you'd switch to if you simply are trying to score more goals. Like I was in the Real Madrid game, when you concede to Real Madrid, you can go one or two ways. You can sort of collapse, you can fall down, or what I like to do is go more attacking, get in their face a little bit, make them, that momentum just die, what they basically gained, and that's exactly what we've done. So the higher line with the same instructions as what we saw before. Going over to the defensive variant, a little memory refresher for you guys. This is the default one. Bang, the defensive one. So, a lot of changes. Now, the first ones are going to be, obviously, the inside four goes on support. Same with this one. The complete forward also goes to a supportive duty. Going over to the midfield, there's quite a few changes. So, the first one is going to be a Metzala on support. He obviously drops down a little bit. A complete position change here. We actually opted for a centre mid on defend, on tackle harder and mark tighter. The DM goes back to the way that he was, obviously on defend. The wing backs stay basically both on support, so exactly the same there. The mentality does stay on positive because balanced with all the supportive roles would be way too sort of, it just wouldn't be enough at all. You just be basically sitting at the back hoping. In possession, we're going to have obviously the run at defense taken off. A little bit of time wasted added to the mix, why not? We've kept the higher tempo on both sectors because we don't, sections, sorry, not sectors. I'm on about F1. I've got F1 in my head. In both sections because we do want to obviously still have that high possession style. In transition, we're going to have exactly the same on. Now, this I like to keep on because you sort of catch teams off the mark, off the ball, and you get to counter-attack them. But if you are in the last 5-10 minutes trying to slow the pace down, obviously tick it off. And out of possession, the standard line and the high press line of engagement. And that is going to be all three variants of Jurgen Klopp's 4-3-3 broken down for your enjoyment. If you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. But that's been it for me today, boys, and I'll see you in the next one.